A very good evening to all. Dr. Vanessa from Brazil, waiting for Dr. R. Padma Kumar from Kerala, India, and panelist Preeti Pasricha from Maharashtra, Julie Day from West Bengal, and Puneet Kaur from Jammu and Kashmir. And program director who has been in the leading role, of course, no other than Beatrice Lucia from Brazil. Today's a topic which we have a healthy weight loss. I think it is relevant and we need to understand. This is very technical and important topic which will be explained by two of our doctors. So it is my formal invitation to Dr. Vanessa from Brazil. I would love to hear you for next 10 minutes about healthy weight loss. Over to you, and once again, welcome.
Okay. Can you listen me well?
Yeah.
So on behalf of University of Planalto Catarinense, I want to say thank you for having me here. And I'll try to be brave as well because we have a lot of panelists. But what we want to say today is that the prevalence of obesity has increased so rapidly over the last few decades that now is considered a global epidemic. This is a multifactorial disease, combination of biological, genetical, social, environmental, and mostly environmental once we don't have any change in our genome, and behavioral determinants. So what defines obesity is the body mass index of 30 or more, and the association sometimes with several comorbidities, including type 2 diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, heart disease, stroke, asthma, several forms of cancer, infertility, depression. Now we could say that it's a risk factor for COVID-19 and many others, causing the decrease in life expectancy. But by itself, obesity is an independent risk for death. It happens because adipose tissue, it's not a simple inert organ for storage lipids. Since 1944, with discovery of leptin, white adipose tissue was recognized as an endocrine organ responsible for the synthesis and secretion of several hormones. And besides that, we know that this organ is a major source of oxidative stress and cytokines. So, as an important source of substances with local and systemic actions called adipokines that will impact in the whole body metabolism, regulating a variety of function. So, as I said before, an obese person is a person with in a constant inflammatory state. That is the reason why we have that comorbidities associated with this increment in body weight. So we know that obesity brings some serious physical, psychological, and economic implications for patients, families, society. And even with American Medical Association recognize obesity as a chronic disease that requires medical attention just in 2013, Sushruth, I'm sorry for my pronunciation, but the Indian physician and the father of plastic surgery, who lived sometimes between 600 and 800 BC, prescribed physical exercise to minimize the consequences of the body weight and the trait comorbidities, including diabetes. And nowadays, we know that obesity is generally caused by consuming more calories that you can burn through physical exercise. So it's like in a scale, how much you eat, how much you spend, and the excess of energy will be stored in our body as fat. So the best way that we could treat obesity is changing our lifestyle, is eating health, is reducing calories, and doing some exercises. But for some people, even with profound change in diet, weight loss is really hard. So for those, we can prescribe some medications, and the FDA approved 5 groups of drugs. But even under prescription, losing weight is sometimes Herculean. Then, if eligible, the physician could think about bariatric surgery. But I think that this is a main thing that we could say today, that bariatric should be the last alternative to reduce body weight. But as we can see, we have escalating numbers. Bariatric surgery is one of the fast growing hospital procedures in the United States and in Brazil. During 2019, our country performed at least 70,000 surgeries. India, 33,000 surgeries. So we should think that sometimes people are gaining weight to be submit on this kind of mutilation. And I'm sorry, I need to say this is a mutilation. So currently we have 2 types of bariatric techniques. The Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, considered a gold standard technique, and the sleeve gastrectomy. And what is the difference between one technique and another? Well, the gastric bypass not just change the size of your stomach, but modifies your intestine route. But we need to have in mind that intestine is the biggest endocrine organ that we have. Moreover, we know that our flora is mostly contained in intestine. That 90% of our serotonin is from these bacteria. 50% of our dopamine came from that as well. So not just we are changing the size of our stomach, a new route for our intestine, the changing of all hormones, but we are reducing the absorption of nutrients. And that is the reason why they call these the gold standard procedure. But we have a second type of technique that is growing fast in numbers as well, that it's called the sleeve surgery. And this surgery have the focus on your stomach. But what the both techniques has in common is the dramatically change in ghrelin levels. Ghrelin was a hormone that was discovered in 1999 and is the only oxygen hormone that we know. It happens because, of course, the gastric fundus is the main source of ghrelin. But we should know and have in mind that ghrelin is not just an oxygen hormone. Ghrelin plays a role in fear, anxiety, and depression behaviors, and is one important hormone modulating memory. And if we see an animal, a knockout animal for ghrelin, and we slice the brain of this animal, we will see a reduction in whole hippocampus area and a reduction in dendritic spines. And this will cause a memory loss that sometimes is just associated with this nutritional deficient that patients submit to bariatric procedure will present. But our group just show as well that ghrelin is an important hormone to protect against neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. We used to work with 2 animal models, one with MPTP, another one with amyloid beta. And what we could see was the protective effect of ghrelin over this neurodegenerative disease. So what we should do or what we should think about it, I think that the first thing is put a red flag over ahead of someone who was needed to bariatric procedure, because this person could have major behaviors like depression, anxiety, and fear, we know this patient is more related and associated with mutilation than any kind of patients. We could see that this patient as well have an increased numbers of alcohol abuse. So we need to think that we just find out what ghrelin do and all the things that intestine is secreting. So in my point of view, we need to take a big change in our lifestyle and in the way that we are seeing obesity right now, because we are not just treating some comorbidities or treating the body weight. We should think about the behavior, anxiety, and memory. Thank you so much for the space for talking to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vanisha. I think she has rightly pointed out there are three important things. First is there, I think, a healthy life which we are living with the food, but we are working less. Second, we have a hectic schedule from day to night, and we do not have time to spend ourselves. So these are the preventive measures. Moving further with this point, I would love to invite here Dr. R. Padmakumar, who is a well-known doctor in India from Cochin, Kerala. Dr. Saab, my question and my submission to you, what you advise to especially the youngsters, those who have entered into 40s and 50s is okay, but I have seen youngsters with the obesity, and once they reach to their young stage, they become, uncontrolled situation. So over to you, and from Global Edu-Leader Forum, we welcome you on the screen. Dr. R. Padmakumar.
Hi everyone, good evening. I think it's good morning there, no?
Yeah.
It's good morning.
Good morning to Brazil.
Good day to all of you. I just heard Madam tell you about how it is important to be normal. By whatever means it is possible on each person. Each person can do. As you rightly said, what my advice to youngsters will be not to come to me because I'm a direct surgeon. Not to come to me. Try and do the best whatever you can do so that you don't come to me, to a bariatric surgeon. See, if you are careful, I think if you are careful, you can be on a diet pattern which will be healthy. Your lifestyle can be on a healthier side so that you don't get into obesity. See, once you gain weight to some certain extent, then it is not that easy to lose weight. People think by walking, by exercising, they can do. But these are all something, to my mind, after 20 years of experience in this bariatric field, these are something which are just preventive exercises. It's possible. Prevention is possible by exercise and dietary regulation. But after you gain to certain weight, especially more than 30, 35 body mass index, it is very, very difficult to actually come down in weight and be maybe around 25 BMI by your own. Then comes the role of various methods like drugs, like orlistat or the intragastric balloons we do. We have done more than 150 balloons for patients who are not actually ideal candidates for a bariatric surgery. Then this part of world, sleeve gastrectomy is the commonest procedure and most sought after procedure because it will give almost excellent results as is RYGB, row gastric bypass. So sleeve gastrectomy is our first choice because we reserve this RYGB for second procedure, as a second procedure. As a redo bariatric surgery, we keep the reserve, or for somebody who had reflux disease or something. So sleeve gastrectomy will give you excellent results in terms of metabolic syndrome resolution, all those. But as your question was very pertinent, what is my advice to youngsters will be to, when they are eating, to be healthy, when they are, whatever they can have in a physical activity mode, they should do so that they don't get into more than anything overweight. Once you're overweight, you know that your tendency is to go for an obesity. So at least restrict that overweight and not to get into obesity.
I think very well said, Dr. Saab. Prevention is, I think, better than cure. Once you cross the limit, it is very, very difficult to stop it. We have educators, Preeti, Julie Day, those who are dealing with the school kids, and Puneet Kaur, along with Nada from Croatia. So I'm coming to you, Preeti. In daily routine life, what is your advice and what you feel? Do you have any question to both the doctors for the school students? Because you are dealing with the school students directly. In their healthy diet routine, what you'd like to add and what you'd like to ask? Over to you,
Yes.
Preeti. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Singh. I would definitely like to ask, just like how adults have this stress of sitting online in front of the screen for hours and hours for long hours, children also have a similar stress. They also have the similar stress. Sometimes due to when the teacher changes suddenly, they have the stress of a new teacher. They have the stress of not only performing in front of their teachers, but also in front of the parents, because parents are hovering them all the time just to see whether are the children doing good. So this is definitely creating stress in them. So in such kind of situation, they try and emotionally eat whatever is comes in front of them. They just try and eat emotionally. This is emotional binging. So how should they overcome from this?
Okay, this is a question I think which I would love to take from Dr. R. Padmakumar. And next question, Julie, get ready, which will take from Dr. Vanessa.
Yes, stress may be a factor in weight gain to some extent, but I would say more than the stress, it is the type of activity, type of food a family or a social cultural group follows. That may be the reason more than stress, because stress eating and gaining weight is, to my knowledge, in my practice, what I've seen is giant majority of them, they actually are forced to eat by their parents, by their grandparents, because they were together, and they actually going for such kind of an eating, irrespective of the fact that this child is gaining weight. They actually don't look at that angle. I usually ask them one question: if the child is drinking alcohol in front of you, will you be happy? Will you permit? If he is smoking in front of you, will you be happy? Will you be permitting? Then why are you permitting and promoting excessive eating and putting this person into a major health issue? So that is a question which we have to ask the grandparents, and that should be avoided. See, they may not be aware of things, and you are thinking out of affection, because even in our family circle who are on the higher side of age, I just ask them, and I just, it's not the way to show your affection. It's not the way. Actually, you are putting the person in the real trouble. So that has to be conveyed to parents and grandparents, so that they won't actually insist on these people to eat something extra, or whatever they made at home. That is something which has to be stressed upon.
Dr. Saab, I think it is an excellent answer, and I think it is vibrating our mind why we allow students to eat more if we do not allow to smoke. Exactly. I agreed with you. We must have watch, and we as an educator, I think taking this point to take it further. Dr. Ramya is on the screen. Your one line suggestion to the youngsters and to the students, and for the teachers too.
Actually, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I am otorhinolaryngologist and head and neck surgeon from JIPMA, and I deal with the weight reduction management. And I want to say that as you have to constantly keep control on whatever you eat. It's whatever you eat is okay. How much amount of energy you are giving into your body and how much energy you are expenditure you are doing it. So if you are keeping balance of these two, then there will not be any overweight. So most of the energy is taken up by respiration and inside our body metabolisms. And 13% is only about exercise. Remaining everything is about how much amount of food we are eating. So it is about how much food, how much calories we are taking. So anytime, whenever we are eating in calories, means what your calories, there's something called as calorie counter. You will see net or anyway calorie calculator. So you type it on that and see how many calories you are eating. Don't go beyond it while 1,000 to 1,000 to 200.
Great.
Means 12,000.
So you want to say that we should have a, I think, calorie meter, how much they are supposed to take, and it need to be added into syllabus for the students. Global Edu-Leaders Forum is dealing more towards the young children, those who are the future of this world. I should not say it's a matter of India, Europe, Asia, or any specific country. Globally, this is happening. Initial time, people do not had food, so they were in different situation. Now they have food, so it is crossed. Julie, I would like to take you here. What question you would like to ask to Dr. Vanessa from Brazil, and what kind of your observation? Unmute yourself and please.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Vanessa. I think that is a morning light, right,
Yeah.
in Brazil. Okay. Yeah, see, as a teacher, I have observed certain things that children tend to skip meals that I have seen. They often, you can put it either they are too busy in their work in between classes, too many activities, and they often tend to skip meals, maybe tiffin, maybe the breakfast. That is an added, you can say, cause for this obesity. Children have this, and even they are deprived of sleeping. They are deprived of sleeping, and even sleep is a very, very good cause for obesity in adults as well as in children. We neglect sleep. Maybe I've seen many children at night doing their work, studying and all those things, but they're not paying enough importance to the sleep.
I think
that is
very,
another
very
thing.
valid,
So,
very valid point. Dr. Vanessa, her question is, leaving, skipping meals and sleep. These are two causes. How to overcome? What is your advice?
So first of all, we need to think that skipping meal is not the problem. Fasting, it's something good for us. It's increased our levels of ghrelin, and this is a neuroprotective hormone, as I said before. But the problem is the quality of what are we eating. And this is the main problem. We change our diet dramatically, increase sugar, fat. The size of the portions are tremendous now. But you're right, Julie, without the right amount of sleep per night, a person probably will have an increment in body weight. So I think that we need to think not just in the quality of sleep during the night, but the quality of the food that you are having during your day. And together, this could probably reduce the number of our children with this increment in body weight.
That's, I think, really great. That is not an option. Skipping food may be a form of having fasting, which can remain. But what type of food and what quantity of food you are taking?
Yeah, but one question I have, Dr. Vanessa, that if skipping breakfast, many children I've seen that doing skipping breakfast, but does skipping breakfast actually land, making them eat more? Actually, they'll end up eating more during the entire day if they're skipping breakfast.
I think that it's not the problem you're skipping some meals. Right now, a great amount of people are doing that. I'm skipping my breakfast every day, but in some point we need to think that if you skip your meal and then you eat everything in front of you, this could be a problem. But if you are eating vegetables and fruit, this is not a problem at all. The problem if you are eating pasta or bread or I don't know, the amazing samosas that you have there.
Oh, great. Great.
It's like they become more hungry and they can grab anything. That is what you're trying to say. If I skip meals, I can become more hungry and even I can end up taking everything.
You got the answer. I think perfect answer. I think Nada is from Croatia. She's also dealing with the students. I would love to hear you. What is your question to Dr. R. Padma Kumar?
Okay, yes. Hello, greetings from Croatia.
Yeah.
Croatia is a very beautiful country and famous by beautiful nature and Adriatic Sea. And if we talk about health living, I think in our schools, because we are promoting tourism and and most values of living. I think that in our schools must be a subject,
Okay.
and also I think that we must improve the food and the school meals. So what could and what kind of many would be the best for our kids in the schools, but not a lot of expensive. That is
Okay.
problem because, okay, is it
I think
understand
very,
what?
very valid question. What kind of food? And but it should not be very much expensive. Dr. R. Padma Kumar, I would love to take answer.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Nada. Ms. Nada, I heard your question. What will be the ideal food? What I would say is like both, as we are discussing, both quality and the quantity matter. So any regular kind of homemade food, what we call, means if you ask me, in India, we have a mixture of this carbs and the pulses, which will have protein and carbohydrate mix. That is the best thing. We call it idli. We have that. It's a mixture of rice and these pulses, which will give you protein as well as the carbohydrates. But that is the best actually. Even for all this lunchtime also, it is a carb plus vegetables and proteins mix. So that is the best, and maybe at one point of time, one time in a day, maybe you can have this fat or the non-vegetarian fish or meat-like things. So if it is made at your house, it will be very, very inexpensive, and it will be very rich in nutrition, and nobody will actually gain that much of weight. Rather, if you go for all this cheesy material and the aerated beverages, which are very high in sugar content, naturally you tend to, instead of drinking ordinary water, if you start taking all these aerated beverages, then you are into trouble, and you promote it, you show the children how these things should be avoided. Instead, you also take it, then all these burgers with extra cheese added, then you are into trouble. Otherwise, the homemade food, regular stuff with these kind of mixtures, I think it should be fine. And bread omelette.
Doctor, we can take homemade food, easily available, low cost, but you have to prepare. So at least you have to be alert for the home food. Punjabi food in India is, I think, very, very happy and healthy food, and people take as much they can. So we have a Punjabi, my sister Puneet. She is also dealing with the students. What kind of question you would like to put and advise? Punjabi food.
Actually,
With
Punjabi food, actually food, I believe that every regional food is healthy food if it is taken judiciously and cooked by the people themselves.
Okay.
Punjabi food, dal roti khao te vaigu de gun gao, it is the best Indian food.
Okay.
But when we add some carbs and other things to it, then it becomes difficult. Being a teacher, I believe that we need to understand the eating habits of child. But I feel that if we make our children understand to how to change diet, I can say that there are three things if we can teach our children. That initially, because these days I'm working on habits, that is why I came to this with health and diet, habit and diet, that if we make our children to reflect upon how they eat, like logbook of eating habits, I will just take short of it. Just if they can reflect on what they are eating, we make them to reflect on, pen down their daily habits and make them to reflect on that. First thing, then we will tell them again, replace that now, because that can be done by them only.
Okay.
Replace,
Okay.
replace, and then third point, last, sir, replace,
Yes.
and then reinforce. 3 hours
Okay.
for eating healthy.
Dr. Vanessa is smiling. Replace with what? Closing comment.
No, I couldn't agree more. She is right. We need to teach it to our children how to eat properly. But we are right now in a modern world, and it's easier for us to open like a snack or something rich in sugar and give it to them. That is the problem. We need to prepare healthy food, and this takes some time. But I couldn't agree more. We need to teach them since the youngest age that whatever you eat, when you're young, this will reflect in some point in your adult life.
Okay. Dr. Padma Kumar, I have one question. In this routine teaching and advising people, I have seen the heads, those who are sitting on the chair. They are less concerned. They keep talking. If you are already, the teacher is already having, heavy weight, and teacher keep advising on the dais in the assembly, especially I'm talking about what you would like to. I think principal and teacher should have also a curriculum, and they should be fit enough as cricket player or athletes.
Very well said, but difficult to practice maybe. But that can be on two ways. Once, if you are fit, you can say that be like me and encourage them to be like you. So that is one aspect of it. Somebody is obese, they can very well point and they'll say that I did not take care of myself in the younger age, so I have become like this. I don't want you to be like. Still, you can motivate.
I think very well said. Altogether, if we can take out of this conversation, there are 3 to 4 important points. First, you must think of what you are eating and how much you are eating. Quality of the food and quantity of the food is most important. Second, your daily routine. If you are taking calorie, how much you are burning or not. And third, you must realize and evaluate your total calorie taken and total calorie burn. It was rightly mentioned by Dr. Ramya. Beatrice, you are on the screen. And this program is your initiation. Hats off to you, bringing such talent on the screen with a very initiative. So your closing comment.
Thank you. I would like to thank everybody, mainly Dr. Vanessa Vargas dos Santos and Dr. Padma Kumar, Mr. S.K. Singh, moderator, president, and founder of Global Edu-Leaders, for always believing in Brazil, the panelists and participants. It is observed that the number of individuals with obesity increases every day in the world, and bariatric surgery has become an important ally in the treatment of patients. But never fail to talk to a doctor who specializes in the field. Do not enter into an attempt to be seen by a general practitioner. Thank you very much, everybody who is participating. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Beatrice. I think she is the one behind this all creation of this such program. And my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Vanessa and Dr. Padma Kumar, those who are the specialists of their concern area. I think Preeti has added a value with the students' life, what we are facing. Same thing with the NADA. And Julie, very, very pointed question by you has made this program. Now my final submission to both the doctors. Before leaving this screen, 1 minute, advice for leaders or motivators, those who are going to motivate the generation. What could be the message to them? Dr. R. Padma Kumar and then Dr. Manisha. Final message. Yeah.
If you see someone bit reluctant to eat, don't force them. That is the first thing. And whenever you are in a position to advise somebody, just encourage them to eat what is best, especially the kind of high calorie diet. If you can actually discourage them, and the availability itself, if you can restrict by your powers within, that will be the best. See, in the school or wherever, if you can actually restrict this high calorie food substance, availability itself makes it more consumable for the children, more stimulating for them. So please make it not available.
I think with your advice, we will circulate one list of items not to be kept in the school canteen. Dr. Vanessa, your final word of advice to the people.
I think the final, thank you. I think that the final word is we are right now in an epidemic and the numbers are growing. And as we can see, we have adults, we have children with obesity. So if we want to do something right now, is exactly like Julie said, we need to treat the children because, of course, they will be our future. So we need to think right now the quality of what are we eating, what are we teaching to them, and how we can change these in a closer future for the people not taking this mutilation. I'm sorry, doctor, but I know that this is your specialty, but we know how hard it is to treat a patient with a bariatric surgery, and sometimes they regain weight. So if we do this right now in the right way, we probably not need to submit ourselves to some kind of procedures like this one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It has been rightly said, nothing is important, but do not wait others will do. You must start doing it right now. So once again, thank you, Beatrice from Brazil. Thank you so much, Preeti from Maharashtra. Thank you so much, Puneet from Jammu. And thank you so much, Julie, joining from West Bengal. And Dr. Padma Kumar from Cochin, Kerala. And Nada from Croatia. And Rezane is, of course, from the Brazil, and Ramya from Bangalore. Thank you so much, one and all. Hope to see you in the next program with another topic.
Thank you. Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Of business and thank you.